Do you like granny squares? Do you like the idea of a granny square every month? Today starts November's granny square. Hello to November. I am excited. This is my favorite month of the whole year, probably because it's my birthday month, but that's okay. And I absolutely love Thanksgiving and all things fall. So I am not the kind of person that jumps right into Christmas after Halloween. I like to revel in the November beauty of the falling leaves still, because they're still starting to fall. They're still falling here in the Midwest of the United States. And it's the cooler air. I absolutely love it. So I personally don't do Christmas until after Thanksgiving, but if you do, you do you. I'm not judging today. So today we are going to jump in with a 1st of November granny square. I hope that you are into that idea. If you are, please go ahead and subscribe and make sure your notification bell is dinged. And please consider showing me some love with that like button. Anyways, without further ado, come hang out with me today and let's check out this November inspired granny square. It's November. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on our November granny square. This one I'm kind of excited about. It's a little different. We're going to be starting the middle a little bit differently than a traditional granny square, but I think it just gives it a little bit different of a look to it. Make it kind of neat, unique. Okay. So let me put this over here. What we're going to need today, we need a 4mm hook. This is just my generic one that I got off of Amazon. It works just fine, especially if you're a beginner. You don't need to go out and purchase, expensive hooks right now. Make sure you're in the groove and it's something that you like to do. The yarn I'm using is Stylecraft Special DK. It is an acrylic yarn. I like to use this for most of my granny squares. It's just, I have almost all of their colors, which is a lot. So I have that variety option there. And we're going to be using Burgundy, Copper, and Camel. I have them right here, nice and caked up. I like to use my Stanwood yarn winder. And then I like to put the Thread Saver nylon tubing around them to kind of keep them secure so they don't flop everywhere. And that is just this right here. And this is what it looks like. Just nylon webbing in like 40 yard lengths. Just cut it to what you need. I usually cut about 11 inches or so to go on my Stylecraft skeins. But let me show you what I love about it. So here is the copper that I'm working with. This is the full skein. I haven't touched this one yet. This is one I've been working with, and as you see, it shrinks down nicely. It holds it in there all confined. It's not making a mess, and it's lovely. I just kind of push my end back in the middle when I'm done. That's why I like to do that, cake my yarns like that. So anywho, we've got the yarn, we've got the hook. Of course, we're going to need darning needles and a pair of scissors. My trusty needle tin that comes with 18 different needles. Everything is going to be linked down below on Amazon if you are interested in snagging those items on there. I am an Amazon associate, so disclaimer, if you do decide to go that route and purchase those through those links, I will receive a little commission. You don't pay anything extra. Also, at the end of this, I will be blocking my squares, and you can do the blocking any way you want. I absolutely love, let me grab this really quick and get it over with and show you. I absolutely love my knit. Oh, that's really close. So sorry. My knit IQ blocking mats. This one in particular has 8 12-inch square mats, and they go together. They have in a grid of 3, 3, 3, and 3, 3, 3, and 3, excuse me. And then there's a circle in the middle. So if you're making something round, you can line it up that way. I absolutely love it. And they come with the T-pins. Easy peasy. So there's that. There we go there. What else are we needing today? I think that's it. So let's just go ahead and get started. Like I said, we're going to be doing the beginning a little bit differently, okay? You can use a magic ring. I personally am using the chaining for slip stitch method to make the ring because when I'm doing the granny squares, I like to have that security of knowing that that magic ring is not going to come undone. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So we need to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip stitching. Kind of. Okay, there we go. I like to kind of move my tail over there so I can secure it with my chain. Okay, so like I said, we are going to not be doing the granny cluster here. We're going to do puff stitches. So as you can see, puff stitches in for our beginning round. Gives it a little bit of dimension and something different. Okay, so we need to do 2 chains so that there's something to stabilize, okay? And then our puff stitches, just yarning over, make sure we're in the center of that chain circle, and then yarning over, pulling up. You can kind of do this kind of not too tight, kind of loosely. We're going to do that 4 times. So that was 1, 2, 3, and here's 4. As you see, I'm trying to make sure it stays loose as I go through here. And then yarn over and pull through all of the loops. That's another reason why you want it loose, so that it will go through those, okay? And then chain to secure. Now we're going to do a second one. So these 2 puff stitches are replacing 1 granny cluster, in case you're confused on how this works. All right, so yarning over, pulling up. There's 1, 2. Oh, that went in the chain. Whoops. 3, right? That's 3. And then here is 4. Okay, yarning over, pull through all, and then securing. And now here we are going to do our first corner, which is going to still be a chain 2. Okay. And now we're going to do that 3 more times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, maybe that's a little tight. Here we go. Okay, secure that. I do kind of like to pull this around as I go to give me space to work into. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so now we're on our second corner. So chain 2, and then we need to do this 2 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, chaining 2, and then we have our last set of puff stitches. Secure that, and then our chain 2 for that corner, and then we're slip stitching over here into the top of our chain 2 that we started with. Okay, make sure you're not in the center chain that divides the two. Just go into that one. Okay, so now I know that there's a big hole in the middle. That is okay. It's going to kind of probably shrink down a little bit, or I'll use my tail and close it up. If you want to do the magic ring, by all means, go do what works for you. Either one will be just fine. So now we're going to slip stitch over to our corner here. Okay, so there's the center between, and then the stitch on the top of the puff stitch. And then here we are into the corner. So this round is just a standard granny stitch round, all right? So we need to chain 3 to count as our first double crochet. And then we need 2 double crochets. And then a chain 2 because it makes a corner. And then our next set of 3 double crochets. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, my tension here is not super tight and it's not super loose. If you are a tight crocheter, you may want to go up a hook size. As you see, this is about a 5-inch square that we're going to end up with. If you use a worsted weight, it's obviously going to be much bigger. So definitely keep that in mind with your crochet style, okay? So then we were working back. So we did our corner cluster here, and then there's no chain, and then we're working directly into the next corner, making our corners. So that's our 3 double crochets, our chain 2, and then 3 double crochets into the same corner. And we're doing that all the way around. Okay, there's our third corner and our last corner. All right, and then we're just slip stitching into the top of our first chain 3, and we're going to fasten off and change colors to copper. So I'm going to cut this. And I'm going to do an invisible join. Okay. So there's our first 2 rounds. Let me go ahead and weave this in a bit. Okay, so I'm personally going to leave that space in the middle there. Right now I'm liking it. If I decide at the end that it's not for me, then I will use this tail right here and I will stitch it closed. But for now, I think it gives it some character. Okay. All right. So next up, we need our copper color, which is kind of that orangey tone. So this guy right here. Okay. So we started with our burgundy. Now we are working on our copper. And we're going to do a standing double crochet. I know there's a few different ways to do this, but I like to just make my slip knot and do it like that. So slip knot and then wrap the yarn around your hook, and we're going into the corner, and then yarn over, and then continue like it's a regular double crochet, just like that. Okay. So now we are doing a corner. So 3 double crochets. So this will be the first one, 2, and then here's 3. Okay. And then chain 2 and 3 double crochets. Now, as we go around, we are going to we're going to skip this. We're going to work over this space between our corner clusters. And we're going to work down here into this space between our puffs. Okay. Excuse me. And we're going to do this fairly loosely because we want the height. We don't want it to be tight and pulling. Okay. So yarning over, coming down. Now I have like very little tension. Okay. I'm going to make sure it's up here at this height. So yarning over again, going through. So that's 2. This is 3. And this is 4. Okay. Really want to kind of pull that, loosen it up so it's raised up to the level of this row, this round. And then yarn over, pull through, and then there's a chain to secure, and we're going to do 2 in this space. Okay. Just like we did in the beginning to start, we're doing the same thing here. So 1, 2, 3, and there's 4. Yarn over, pull through, and our securing chain. Now we're not chaining, we're just going to go straight into our corner, just like our granny square stitches. So 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, 3. So now we're just going to repeat this all the way around. So I will just go ahead and do that. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we are. And then back into the corner. 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now what you can do is when you're loosening your tension for your puffs, you can kind of tighten up your tension for your corners a little bit, and that'll keep it from kind of bowing in here because we worked, 2 rows below. Just a little technique you can do there. Okay, so there's 3. Now we're going to do this 2 more times. So I will just go ahead and get this done. Okay, so then now we're going to slip stitch here into our beginning standing double crochet, just like so. So here is our 3rd round, as you can see. And then next up, we are going to be slip stitching over to the corner. To this corner right here. Okay, so that should be 1, 2, and 3. All right, so now we are just doing standard double crochet stitches all the way around. So we're going to chain 3 to count as our first double crochet for our corner, and then 2 more, just like our standard granny cluster corners. Chain 2, and then 3 double crochets. Okay, so now we are going to skip this hidden stitch right here. Okay, and we're going to work 9 double crochets all the way across to get us over here. Now I am going to work a little looser here in these 2 because this is still tighter than these, to kind of give it some height so that it squares off a little bit better. So here's 1, 2, 3. So then you're working straight into this top loop here. 4, and then into the center between. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then now we're going to do our corners. So our 3 double crochets and a chain 2, and then 3 double crochets. And then we're just going to repeat this until we come back around. Okay, so then what we're going to do, we finished all the way around. Just going to slip stitch to the beginning, chain 3 space, and then we're just going to fasten this off. I'm going to do an invisible join, and then we are changing colors to our last color, which is camel. So I'm going to fasten this off, and I'm going to kind of trim this up, and I will be right back with you. Alrighty, here we go. Everything is sewn in except for our first. So if I decide that I want this to be smaller, I can close it up. But I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of closing itself up a little bit. So I don't mind. Okay, we're just doing a standard. This one's easy. Just double crochets all the way around just to finish off this edging. So we're going to do a standing double crochet like we did with the copper in a corner. Any corner, it doesn't matter. Oops, I forgot to yarn over. There we go. So 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, chaining 2, and 3 double crochets again. All right, and just like we did last round, we are going to skip this invisible stitch, hidden stitch, excuse me, right here. And we are just going to double crochet all the way across, which should be 14 to get us here. And then we do our corner and continue all the way around. Super easy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whoops, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Okay, so there's our first side. And we're just going to repeat this all the way around. Here's our corner, our 3 clusters of double crochet, our chain 2, and then our next 3. And reminder, skip the hidden and 14 across. Okay, so there we have all 4 sides. I'm just going to slip stitch this into that beginning stitch and going to fasten that off with an invisible join. And then just weave these in a couple of times, back and forth. Make sure they don't come undone. And then this one too. Okay, here's our November granny square. I'm gonna set this up to block right now for you. You know, I think I'm just gonna cut this because it's closed itself up fairly well. I don't mind that little hole there. I really don't. It's not too big. So I like it. I'm just gonna cut this off. And it's already a knot because we did the slip stitch. I mean the chain 4 ring. So I don't have to worry about it unwinding itself. So I'm just going to take the top mat off of here. And I'm going to get this pinned on here to block. So do my corners first. Actually, I'm going to kind of move over here. I've done this block a lot. So I'm going to move on to this side. Now this is about 5-inch square. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, so then I will come here to these guys. Maybe it's 4.5. Let's go ahead and make it a little bit shorter. That's kind of tight. Let's go with 4.5. Okay, that's a little better. I don't want to stretch it too far. Okay, so then I like to raise these up so that the steam and the lower temperature of the iron can get underneath. So there's airflow under there so that it doesn't get soggy and wet, because we don't want soggy and wet. Now this is acrylic, so all I'm doing is steam and gentle heat. I am not putting it on the square because that will melt the yarn, and that's not what we're going for. I just kind of hover it over the top. And with this yarn, it's really quick and it dries really quick. So here we are. This is what we're going to do. I will have this blocked, and let me clean everything up, and I will see you in just a moment. So what do you think? I think this is a fun one. It kind of looks like a piece of pumpkin pie with, I don't know, cranberry sauce in the middle. I'm not saying that that's a flavor combo that I'm jumping into, but the orange and the tan definitely gives you pie vibes. At least it does for me. So I hope you enjoyed this granny square. It's just a fun little creation that's just a little bit different than your typical. So I want to say thank you for hanging out with me today. If you are not currently subscribed, please consider doing so, and make sure that notification bell is dinged so that you are notified when all of my next videos come out. If you did enjoy this video and the content that I create here on the YouTubes, please consider giving me some love by clicking that like button. Anyway, so with I want to say again, Excuse me. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will definitely see you in my next video.